that's scary. Oh, we never know what's going to happen. Kind of like that pilot who went down today. It's surreal to hear his voice on the radio, just saying, right base runway 26. You know, just like we've said a billion times. And then to think that 2 minutes later he's dead. Ducky's responding back. But Gally and Mason and everybody were okay. It seemed like from the tornado, it didn't like hit Spartan or get that close.
No, I don't know how close it was to them, but they were just, Gally and her roommates were going to head downstairs to their friend's dorm. So it's the first level.
Yeah. Yeah, Ducky said it. My first Oklahoma tornado, about 6 miles west of me. That is really close. 6 miles? I mean, that's like a long final. Well, that guy was on a 5-mile base when his engine quit. I mean, that's just not that far.
There's a tornado shelter, like, right by Gally. Like, you go, like, towards the main road, and it's, like, a minute away from her. So she's close by that, but Mason's not. I don't know if she's having anything like that close to her.
But if it was that close to, I assume they all are kind of close together, like where Ducky is compared to Gally and Mason and everybody else.
I don't know that she's that compared to them. I know Mason lives about, like, 30 minutes away from Gally. She lives really close to Spartan. She lives, like, 5 minutes away from Spartan. Gally's friends are kind of far away.
Oh yeah, because they don't have dorms right there, huh? Yeah, I remember now them talking about that. Shoot, we had a lot of kids. We didn't, Flair and Trixie and Chief and a lot of kids.
Flair and Trixie they're upstairs. They're right next to Gally.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
And Chief is in the same dorm area, right? I'm sure it's a different dorm for the guys, but. Yeah, scary stuff. You gotta be ready. I think.
I thought I was going to be skinny today and get 2, but I'm not.
You thought you were gonna be skinny and get 2? But I'm not. Get your seconds. Get your thirds. I'll have to text later and see about everybody else.
They sent me all these. That's really bad. I don't think I've ever seen red on there.
Scary stuff. All right, everybody have the study guide? Study guide and taquitos. Get your taquitos, your red hot taquitos, piping hot taquitos. Okay, we can wait for Mr. Josh. There are 2 different kinds of taquitos there, right? Chicken and beef. Cool. Or dog and cat. That's disgusting. Yeah, thanks. While they're eating it. Rat hair, that's nasty. 4%. You should look that up and see if that's real.
You don't believe me?
4% rat hair.
I did hear that, like the soup can people, they have up to like 10% of bug that they're allowed for each batch. Yeah, what?
Soup cans? 10% bug?
It says the FDA allows small, unavoidable amounts of rodent hair in certain foods, often cited as fewer than 9 to 11 hairs per 50 to 100 grams, depending on the product. Classified as food defects.
How close is that?
50 to 100. It didn't have a percentage. How big is 50
So
grams?
9 to 11 hairs per 50.
There you go.
Ah,
Peanut butter allows in
50
certain
grams?
foods.
or hairs? How big is 50 grams?
Well, it was like 10 hairs for 100 grams of soup or something.
10 to, yeah.
But 10 hairs is like nothing. That would probably be like 0.001 grams or something. So,
I don't want any rodent.
I saw it in Korea, South Korea. Customs, they picked up a bag that was weird, looked like pills, nutritional supplement. But something about it looked weird, and they opened them up, broke them open, kind of a rust color on the inside. And they thought they knew what it was, but it wasn't. And they checked it, and they found human DNA, and they checked it out, and the site said there were, I don't remember, like 27,000 capsules loaded with human. And the point of the story was how many people would it take to be able to throw 27,000 capsules? The surprising thing is only about half of a body. So one person processed to fill 27,000.
How much body versus drug was it? Or it was all
It was no
body?
drug, It was all body.
Oh, that's
It was
disgusting.
all processed human.
That's disgusting.
And it does, doesn't it?
Wow.
It does. It sounds
So
an absolute-
like a way to get rid of a body.
Yeah.
Oh my
Epstein
goodness.
had bunches of ways. They were dumping in the ocean, they were using acid,
That's,
eating them.
we're talking about bodies being turned into pills. I saw a thing, yeah,
Supposedly, I ate too. This is not hungry food, this is fun food, right? That's all right, look at me like a porky pig, I don't care. This is a singing, this is my culture.
How buddy? Ah, buddy. Clyde wants a taquito. I heard of a drug thing, or a bust where it was like 3 in the morning and one of the truckers had like a refrigerated unit that they have, because it's all refrigerated, they don't have to wait as long for customs and all that. Anyway, it was in Texas and it weighed, I think, significantly more than it should have weighed. And it was like, again, like 1:37 in the morning, and instead of blowing it off, he basically said, pull over and wait. And he called other people in. He called it in, and they found, millions of dollars of fentanyl, cocaine, all sorts of drugs. And then they found like an SD card and something else. What are those? Like a thumb drive. And it had all these encrypted files. Well, they basically found a huge, huge Sinaloa cartel ring going on in Texas, southern Texas, and where a lot of, I think they ended up arresting, it involved the border security, like whoever was over border security. So kind of like in Mexico, a lot of the police officers, a lot of the people are part of it, like it's a corrupt system. A lot of the politicians, are controlled by the cartels, a lot of the police officers. Well, in Texas, it was basically the same, where Border Patrol, they would have the same little route, the same little time, and based on this one guy who said, this doesn't seem right, they ended up finding like this billion-dollar industry, this billion-dollar processing going on, a ring going on through southern Texas, and it extended into 11 other states, or 11 total states. Crazy, right under our nose. Pretty crazy. That's not as good as your story about humans being pills,
Mine's better.
but I know, yours is better. See all the good conversations you missed? Yeah.
It started with, we don't really know if couple of chickens.
Or people, or cat, or dog.
We've been around.
Yes, but only 6 to 10 hairs per 50 grams, so Flash is okay with that. That's not so bad.
Don't you eat like 8 spiders in your sleep every
Don't
year?
ever say that to me again. Let me do that.
8 spiders in your sleep every, I don't. I don't know about you, but I don't.
What?
Like they crawl into your mouth and you eat them in your sleep.
How many, about 8?
About 8.
Yeah.
They might be like honey still.
Like one a month?
Mattresses get heavier and heavier and clear, and it's from mites and,
Dead skin cells.
well,
No, you guys might be violent, but I don't.
I know, I don't. You'll have to look that up and see if that's real.
what have you pulled out of people's ears?
Oh. I feel so bad for people because the roaches, oftentimes it was like college guys who'd like go to sleep on the floor in somebody's dorm, and they say that they could feel something get in there and they can't pull it out, you know, it's too far in there. I mean, think about trying to grab something in your ear. So yeah, a lot of roaches, mostly roaches, and just trying to get it out without it hurting too bad and without pulling it apart, because you don't want to pull it apart and leave particles in there. But I found most effective is putting an oil in the ear, and they can't breathe, so then they just kind of back out. But because you can grab them, but depending on what they are, they'll hold on, and the people can hear it, and they're grossed out, and
I want to believe it.
it's like, just hold on. And then stuff up kids' noses, of course. If anything's ever up your kid's nose, like that happens, I would just have the mom, almost like she's doing mouth to mouth on her kid, blow into her mouth. Blow hard into her mouth, because it's hard. You don't want to push it up higher. I mean, think about getting forceps, tweezers up inside the nostril and not push the BB in farther. And you don't want it to go into their lungs. You don't want them to and blow it into their lungs. So I just tell the mom, put your mouth on your kid's mouth and just blow really hard so it would come out.
Yidixie always puts stuff in her nose.
Still?
Yidixie, when she was little, when we were little, she always had something in her nose. She'd be like, Mom, Yidixie would push something in her nose again. It'd be like performing surgery right in the middle of the room.
Well, now you'll know. Just kiss her really hard. Just.
She better not do it now.
I know.
You close the other nostril or no?
Yes, close the other nostril. Yeah.
I've used hydrogen peroxide to like clear out my ears, you know, because that also works for like bugs and stuff. You guys ever use that?
We never used that. We'd only use like an oil to make them back out. If we could see it, we would just grab it with the forceps and pull it out if we felt like we could. But it's kind of freaky. And I told you for bloody noses, we would take this Vaseline, and I think it's called impregnated, but like a Vaseline soaked gauze that's pretty skinny. And we would just keep packing and packing and packing and packing. And we would take an entire bottle, like this tall, like a big Tylenol kind of bottle, a whole bottle of that Vaseline gauze and shove it up one nostril.
That'd be for like broken noses.
Just bloody noses. Bloody noses that wouldn't stop. Like no matter what we did, wouldn't stop. We'd
Did she fix yours the other day?
just shove that up. That happened. That worked in 95% of cases. If you have a bloody nose, don't do this, because then you just don't see it, but it's going down your throat, and that just makes your stomach feel sick. But it's not fixing anything. And then your mama always taught you to pinch it here. That doesn't do anything at all. If you pinch it here to where you talk bloody, and you have to look at a clock for 5 minutes, because you think it's been 5 minutes and it's been a minute. So we would tell them in the ER. I mean, it was a big deal for them to come to the ER at 2 in the morning because they had a nosebleed. They'd be like bleeding for 3 hours. They come in the ER and literally would fix it in 5 minutes by saying, pinch your nose like this, hold it, do not let it go, and I'll come back in 5 minutes. And then we'd let it go. And if it didn't bleed, we'd say, okay, stay here. Do not blow your nose. Do not stick anything up your nose like tissue or anything. Just leave it alone. And then we'd go in like half an hour later, and if it was still not bleeding, we'd send them home. Just say, don't blow your nose for, all night, 24 hours, something. Just don't blow your nose.
And they get charged how much going into the ER for that?
Yeah, and all we did is tell them to do something. We'd leave, come back in 5 minutes, leave for half an hour, come back and do their discharge.
If you were a small
Stuff.
town doctor, you could charge them a bag of chips and
I could do that.
Doc Hollywood.
That's right. I'd never have to buy food again. So, anyway, all right, you guys voted on how to find your friends, how our acquaintances affect our attitudes. Ooh, don't cheat. Oh, hey, do I need to move you up here? I threatened a kid in class today. It's like, you can either keep talking or you can come sit up here with me, your choice. But it's good to have friends, right? We all like to have friends. I don't know that there's anyone who doesn't like to have friends. I mean, some people like to hang around with a lot of people, and some people like to have just a few friends. But what do you guys think makes a good friend? Loyalty. That's a good one. And so sometimes you don't know that because you need kind of a situation to see if they're loyal. So sometimes you might be buddies with somebody for a long time, but you haven't really tested. I mean, you're not like going to intentionally test their loyalty, but you don't know till something happens. And when they turn the other way, or you find out they're talking behind your back, yeah, loyalty is a good one. What else makes someone a good friend? Honesty. Ooh, that's a hard one though. Do I look good in this dress? You want your best friend to say, oh, you look so good, you look so cute. But they better tell you, right?
Do these taquitos make my butt look big? Not the first 20.
Yeah, that's hard. We'll talk about that when we talk about lying. Like, is that a lie? To say, oh, that looks so good on you. If it doesn't, we call it little white lies. But yeah, we want our friends to be honest, to tell you the truth. But that's hard, isn't it? Because sometimes to be honest with someone is telling them something they don't want to hear. And depending on the situation, especially with relationships, your best friend says, hey, I don't think he's right for you. And then you don't know what you're talking about. He's the best thing that ever happened to me. And then you lose your friend, and your friend was just trying to be honest, saying, I don't think so, whether she was right or not. You know what I mean? So that can be tricky. But yeah, honesty. What are you thinking? Cute little smile. Oh, you do look very happy. So what else? Loyalty, honesty. How do we pick our friends? How do we even find our friends? It's not like hey, you look like an honest guy. I'm going to pick you. Just go on, yeah, how it kind of feels. Yeah, when I was growing up, I was very superficial. And I wasn't a mean kid ever. Well, I shouldn't say ever. I was sometimes. But I was just a superficial kid. I was not that deep in thought. And I didn't realize it until we had a grandson. So that's embarrassing how old I was before I realized it. But I picked friends just based on who was fun to hang out with. And if they were fun to hang out with, like it was fun playing. It was fun. Oh, my little light's gonna die. Yeah, 2 of them, the AA. Like when I was a kid, we used to play football in the street. Like we didn't have video games, we didn't have stuff like that, so we would just play football in the street until it was dark, and then we'd go inside. So we didn't need to call us to tell us home. We're allowed to play outside in the street and people didn't snatch kids off the street in those days, so I guess it was a little safer. It was good times. But whoever lived in the neighborhood, whoever you sat close to, like you go to school and you kind of get hey, they seem cool, like good vibes about the person, and you kind of just hang out with them and you have fun with them, and until something bad happens, either you see that they're not loyal, they start trying to get with the guy that you already like and they know you like him, or they talk behind your back or something silly.
Can we
Thank
put 'em in
you.
it? You do it for me?
Ooh, I do.
Nope.
I can tell you.
That I put in,
Yeah,
evidently I was too
you did?
optimistic.
Yes. If they're like halfway in the green, no bueno. No. Oh no.
And I'm colorblind, so
They have to.
green, red, same.
Yeah, they have to be at least 3/4 up for them to be worthy to be used in the microphone. Otherwise, you can use them in the
Can I
computer.
fly if I'm colorblind? I'm not completely colorblind. I don't remember.
If that's a real question, we would do a
Maybe I
formal.
shouldn't ask in front of people.
We'd do a formal test, like we do the computerized test, because a lot of people have partial color deficiency. 10% of men have color deficiency, and they'll still pass the test. I don't think you'd pass.
You're lucky I can't hear you. I probably won't because I'm deaf.
Well, but you probably, did Hedges ever do a color test on you? Okay, I just couldn't remember. I couldn't remember. But, I know. But, so we would do a formal test, and if you couldn't see, if you didn't pass, you'd get you still get your medical certificate, but it would have a limitation that you're not able to fly at night or by reference to color, light color signals. And then if you want to get that limitation removed, there are 2 other tests you can do. One in America, and I think only one's in Europe. And, or you can do a specialized medical flight test, and you can go up and kind of get it removed that way. Where you have to get 10 out of 10 of the light gun signals, you tell Tower to give you random light gun signals, and you just write down, and you just say, tell me when it signals, whether it's red or green, and you're not supposed to tell them if they got it right or not. You're just supposed to write it down, each one of them, and they have to get 10 out of 10.
You know what type of colorblind you've got?
Your jacket looks brown, your shirt looks red, maroon, her shirt looks blue, that looks bluey gray,
What color's her jacket?
brown with black,
Okay.
black. I have a hard time with reds and greens if I don't have a context.
Right. Yeah, her jacket's green,
Oh, what'd I say?
brown.
That's what I meant.
But it's like a grassy kind of green. When I don't know if you guys remember, but when the Hulk, the movie came out, it was either Burger King, I think it was Burger King or McDonald's, but I think it was Burger King, came out with green ketchup, like super green. And so we were there with our grandson, because that's why we go to McDonald's. But so we're there with our grandson, and I said, "Babe, look at this." And I showed him the green ketchup, and he's like, "What?" I said, "It's ketchup." And I was so fascinated, because it was like green. And he's like, "Okay." I was like, "It's green." He's like, "Oh, it is?" And he just kind of looks at it, so. And then, yeah. So, like, he could tell your shirt was burgundy, but he couldn't tell her jacket was green. Anyway, how did we get on to that?
I asked you if I flunked.
I know, but how did you ask that question? But yeah, you want your friends to be honest. I used to hang out with people just because they were fun. And if they weren't fun anymore, it's not like I'd make a declaration of war or say I'm no longer your friend. I would just start hanging out with someone else. And I didn't see it as a personal thing again, I was just kind of superficial. I was just going from fun to fun to fun. And you move from one city to another city, and you just find new friends. And you kind of, every now and then you think about these friends, but these are my friends now. And then you move to another city, and these are my friends now. And you're sad that you missed them, but it's a new chapter of your life, and those are your friends. And it was when, I don't know if you remember telling Tyler once, we had a whole bunch of his friends over to the house, I think a birthday party or something. And he would play with one friend until the friend wasn't really fun anymore, and then he'd go play with another friend. That's my MO. I mean, that's what I grew up doing. I didn't mean anything by it. I just wasn't very deep. And Tony said, you can't treat people like they're your play toys. You don't play with a person like you play with a toy until you're bored with them, and then go somewhere else because you hurt their feelings. Because now suddenly they don't have anyone to play with because you jumped over here because you're more interested in this person than this person. I didn't know any better, but when he said that, it was like, oh shoot, I did that my whole life. You're having fun with someone. So I don't know, maybe you guys are deeper than I was, but that's kind of how I picked my friends when I was a kid. Yeah, you have a good vibe, you sit by someone in the bus or you sit by someone in class and they seem cool and, they're your friends. What makes a bad friend? Have you guys ever had a fake friend? Ever had a bad friend? What made them bad? Talking behind your back. That's a big one, huh? Gossip. Yeah, the gossip is a sin. We'll talk about that when we talk about our words. Watch your mouth. Watching your mouth isn't just cuss words. You guys know I'm always. That's just because that's what the kids love to do. It's like they don't know how not to cuss in class. They have to ask me, kind of like that little kid asked you once, could you write me a list of, they'll ask me, can I say a word to see if it's a cuss word? Is this a cuss word? Or they don't know. They're just so used to saying those words. But watching your mouth is far bigger than just cuss words. It's stuff like that. It's gossip, talking behind your back. Have you ever talked behind someone's back? You know you have. You know you have. Proverbs actually has something to say. It was either Proverbs or Ecclesiastes has something to say about that. Like, don't be surprised because you know you've done it yourself.
But you mean say bad things about them?
Yeah. We've all said bad things about someone behind their back. What? Then it would be called slander, because slander, saying something bad about someone, even if it's true, is still putting them in a bad light. Now, there's times I think where you should say something. If I find out that Iron Giant every Sunday is taking the air out of your tires and you think you have bad tires, and so now you have to go spend $1,000 getting new tires, and he thinks it's hilarious. So he tells us about it because he's like, that is hilarious. Buster thinks his tires, he keeps getting faulty tires. Now he's suing the tire company. I keep letting the air out of his tire. Well, if I tell you, or we should tell you, well, I'm saying something bad about him that's true, but it's not slander. Like, I think it depends on, like so many things in life, it's not what we're doing, but why we do it. Are we doing it? I think a lot of times when we say bad things about somebody, we're trying to make ourselves look better. Like we're talking to somebody and we're comparing us with that other person, and we want to look better, so we say something not so complimentary about them. It's like, well, I don't want to be ugly, but I don't want to slander anybody, and I don't want to, but it might be good for you to be aware that. Well, if you're doing it to truly protect someone else, that's one thing. But if you're doing it just to make yourself look like, hey, I'm the good one here, kind of like do you guys all have, is there anyone here that's an only child? So you guys, oh, that's right. Your mom told me you're the only one. But growing up, I thought it was hilarious when my brother got in trouble. I just thought it was hilarious. I remember one time I got in trouble because he did something and he got in trouble. I started laughing, snickering, and my dad busted me. He's like, what are you laughing about? Nothing. And I got in trouble because I would not admit that I was laughing because my brother got in trouble. But I thought it was hilarious because then I was the good kid. He was the bad kid. But yeah, that's not cool. So what else makes a bad friend? Talking behind your back. Competing with you? Yeah. Yeah. Like they have something to prove, like they have to show they're better than you? Yeah.
I feel like around this age bracket, I have seen quite a few people try to tear down others around them to put themselves up. That seems to happen a lot.
A lot, huh? And why do you think that is? What do you think that stems from? I'm not trying to be a shrink here, but what do you think that stems from in them?
Insecurity.
Yes. I think you're like the teenage years, and as you're moving into adulthood, it's a very insecure time, and you'll be surprised at how few of people grow out of that. I think we're always insecure. We always want to look good around other people, and that is really hard to let go of. and that can make you do things that you know you shouldn't do. But it's because we're so insecure. And again, the things that we don't like about other friends, we've done it at some point, because we want to be the cool one, or we want to be the whatever. So we say something, especially like if you're competing for a girl or something like that. It can get ugly. And we want to make sure, we know it's good to have friends, but we want to make sure that we're not bad friends and that we protect ourselves. Like I think we talked about last week, or maybe we talked about it with one of Tony's, but the heart is desperately wicked. So we can't just trust, like initially we're probably drawn to some of our friends just because the good vibes, like we just kind of click with them. But we have to be careful to protect our heart, because if they're not moving in a good or godly direction, they're going to mess us up. So let's look at some of these passages, and we'll keep talking about some of the issues. But Ecclesiastes, you guys know that because we've talked about it, but Solomon wrote Ecclesiastes just like he wrote Proverbs. And he says, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their toil. For if they fall, one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him who is alone when he falls and has not another to lift him up. Again, if 2 lie together, they keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? And though a man might prevail against one who is alone, 2 will withstand him. A 3-fold cord is not quickly broken. It's good to have someone. I think we all love the companionship of a friend. We all love to feel like we belong with someone. We all love to feel like someone's got our back. Like, yeah, me and you, we got each other. It just feels good to feel like someone's with you. But it says here in black, kind of in the middle of the page, the Bible says we should be careful about how we find our friends. Proverbs 12:26, the righteous choose their friends carefully, but the way of the wicked leads them astray. We need to be critical when we're choosing our friends. So I put there, how do we pick our friends? Do you pick your friends the same now as you did when you were younger? How did you guys do it when you were younger compared to how you do it now? Whoever you're sitting next to in class? Yeah.
I guess now.
Yeah. Yeah, whoever you're sitting next to in class, whoever you're sitting next to at the bus, whoever lives in your neighborhood. Yeah. You like go out and check the mail and you see somebody else your age and you're like, hi. And now you're like besties. Why? Just because you live in the same apartment complex. Like, yeah, I remember my best friends when I was like 12 and 13. It's because we lived in the same apartment complex. We went to the same school. All right, let's be buds. And how do you pick your friends now? Is it different, or is it still the same? Think about the last friends you kind of. I know it sounds funny to think about choosing a friend because you kind of have to choose each other, but. Yeah.
Character-based one.
Should be, shouldn't it? Yeah, I don't know how many people do it based on character, but.
Especially, I'd say probably now more faith-based, if they're aligned spiritually.
Yeah.
Or at least trying to get away from sin.
Yes.
Some people chase coincidence.
Yeah. Is it hard to separate yourself? I was going to say walk away from, but that sounded loaded. Is it hard to separate yourself from friends who are moving in a wrong direction? Yeah. Because what are you going to say? Like, I mean, it sounds so sanctimonious. It sounds so holier than thou to say, I'm not going to hang out with you because you go to bars and I don't want to go to bars. Or you go to parties that involve bad things, then I don't want to do it. It makes you sound so, what word would you guys use for that? So,
Holier than thou, or
yeah,
self-righteous.
yeah,
Kind of like
yeah. And kind of geeky, kind of not cool. Whatever the opposite of cool is that. I don't want to go with you because you're going to go to a place where there's drinking and partying.
I have homework to do.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, well, just don't drink and party. Well, I don't want to be around those people. Yeah.
You can't be a loser.
Yeah, loser. Yeah. It's hard. It's hard because if we're going to protect our heart and if we're going to move in the right direction, if we're going to choose our friends carefully, that means like loyalty you mentioned. You don't know how loyal they are at the beginning. You don't know necessarily. I mean, if you just sit by with them in class or sit by with them at work or, they're your next door neighbor, you don't know their character until you get to know them. And then it seems kind of mean to say, hey, you know how we were going out on Fridays, let's not go out anymore. Kind of the same with like relationships. Once you say, hey, we're buds, we're going to hang out, well, it's kind of hard to, okay, we're not buds anymore, we're not going to hang out anymore. Kind of like if someone's boyfriend, girlfriend, you draw the line and say, okay, this is the category we're going to put ourselves in. Well, what if as you get to know each other, it's not working? Well, shoot, you already put it in the category boyfriend, girlfriend, so now it's super awkward because now something has to change. You know what I mean? That's hard. So, all right, it says number 1 here, good friends can improve you. That's no surprise. Good friends can improve you. We're going to look at Proverbs has a lot to say about friends. The rest of the Bible does too, but Proverbs especially. As iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. I think of Tony with this because it's like that verbal discord, but what about this? Well, what about this? And it's not like Iron Giant mentioned competition. You're not competing to be right. You're not always having to be right. Because Tony's always right.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I heard that.
Yeah.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. So when you're trying to sharpen the other, that's why we're friends. I'm a giver and he's a, not really. But you should sharpen each other. And that means, like Nugget had said, you have to be honest with each other. You have to emotionally, spiritually, mentally sharpen the other person, make that other person better. And so, yeah, Tony and I love to watch stuff and we'll, no, but this. Well, no, but this. Well, no, but this. And we're not doing it to be right. We're doing it to kind of sharpen each other.
Watch movies, watch videos, talk, things that we've read. Sometimes I'll just throw stuff at it to see how you respond. Like the anchor thing. I tell her over years every time I say this, but we've been married 30 years, and I'm still in awe of her. I really am. She's just amazing. You guys are never going to be as in love with me as I am. She's my best friend. She's influential, you're stimulating. I want to be careful how I said that because I'm feeling dirty old man. I like hanging around her. I like talking to her. I like picking her brain. I still learn from her, and I'm full of it. I think I know, and she finishes my sentence. She knows what I'm thinking most of the time, and that's not cool because I can't throw anything past her. She knows how I'm thinking. She knows what I like, what I don't like, and she hangs out with me anyway. You know how I say, if you're going to hang out with somebody, especially if you're going to get married to somebody, marry somebody who loves Jesus more than you. Be with somebody who's better than you. Be with somebody who's smarter than you. Why would they want to hang out with us then? You know what I mean? Well, I kind of lucked out that way.
Well, and I feel the same way about him. I lucked out because I think he loves Jesus. His whole life is, even though he's never been successful the way he wants to be,
You're lucky this is the bad year.
the way he wants to be, I keep telling him Jesus only had 11 good disciples. He had 12, but one of them was a traitor. One of them was a bad friend. He used 11 guys to turn the world upside down, and they were your age. So being successful doesn't mean having a big church. A lot of the biggest churches in America, I think, are false, are bad, are superficial. They're tickling itching ears. They're telling people what they want to hear, not what they need to hear. And he is the bravest man I know. He's the best friend I know, not just to me, but to other people, because he will tell people what he believes, right or wrong, always right. Not always right. He'll always tell them what he thinks they need to hear. He could say it a little nicer, but he always tells people, and it's easy to sit back and listen to him when he's not talking to me. I agree with him. When he's talking to everybody else, it's like, he's right. He's right. That's hard truth. Like, man, he's dropping the hammer on them. But he's right. They don't like it because nobody likes to be told. But I feel like, wow, that's brave, because he could be buddies with them and have fun with them, but that's not what they need to improve in life. He tells them what he thinks they need to improve in life. So if he likes to talk about a circle of stupidity. We all have our own circle of stupidity, where we all tend to have a hang-up of some sort, where we make the same dumb decision over and over and over again. And as you get older, you'll probably figure out your circle of stupidity, kind of like we all have FAA hazardous attitudes. And he's good at recognizing people's circle of stupidity. And unfortunately, he's also good at telling people what their circle of stupidity is. And nobody wants to hear, hey, you're stupid in this. This is an area where you just keep making the same dumb mistake, and you're never going to get out of this rut in your life if you keep making the same dumb mistake. And look, sitting back here while he's talking to them up there, I'm thinking, oh man, they're not going to want to hear this. Oh man, they're not going to want to hear this. But I'm also in awe of him, because he has the courage and really the love for them to be willing to tell them. Where I would just say, hey, you look good in blue. You know, I just wouldn't address it. I'm not going to hit them over the head with what they're doing wrong. If they do something right, I'll encourage it. But man, I don't want to bring that up, because that's just harsh. But I'm not going to change lives the way he will. Does that make sense? Because I'm not generally, unless it's something big and bad, but like even, they don't watch, but like with my own parents, it's like I placate them to some extent just to keep this reasonably positive relationship. And if they do something really out of bounds, I'll say something, but I kind of let them do their circle of stupidity. Actually, what I'll do is I'll kind of say something about their circle of stupidity and see if they respond positively. And if they don't, then I think, what's the point? They're not going to hear me. They're not going to change. So why make this a negative interaction? Where he doesn't care if it's going to be a negative interaction or not. He just keeps telling him. And receptive or not, he's going to keep telling him. But we all have different strengths and we all have different struggles. And we should be humble because we have our own circle of stupidity. Where he's strong, I might be weak. Where I'm strong, he might be weak. So it's not just like, hey, I'm better than you. Look at your circle of stupidity. They could throw the same thing at us and say, okay, well, you've got one too. If you have a good friend, after your defenses come down, because we all get defensive, if you have a good friend, you ought to be able to say, you know what, you're right. You called me on it, and you're right. And I need to get better at that, and I appreciate you telling me. That's hard, because we're so prideful.
Yeah, I think good friends compliment each other. They protect each other.
Compliment, not like, hey, your hair looks good.
No.
But, yeah.
Wherever one is lacking,
Yeah.
the blanks.
And you don't focus or accentuate the other's weakness. You try to lift them up beyond that weakness. And you don't make other people feel bad about their weakness. You help them just see, hey, you know what I'm really bad at? I'm really bad at this. This is an area where I think you might be a little, but this is, and I would want you to tell me, I don't know how to do it, but I mean, that's at least a true friend. Because otherwise, if you're friends with people like I was my whole life, of just whoever was fun to hang out with, well, that's super superficial. And then it's all about me. If you're fun, I don't want to talk about my dating because it doesn't matter, and that's kind of, your teacher talking about dating is kind of gross probably, but yeah, but it's like as soon as I get bored with someone, which was really pretty quickly, I moved on. You know, I'm having fun with you. I'm bored. I'm having fun with you. I'm bored. I'm having fun with, and not fun like bad fun, but you know, but how selfish is that? How superficial is that? They're not my play toys. You know, he's my play toy, but they're not my play toys. All right, good friends can improve you. Second one, Proverbs 13:20. Walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. You should be walking with people who are like Tony said, who love God more than you, who are smarter than you, who make better decisions than you, at least not worse. This says, walk with them and you'll become more like them, good or bad. If you're hanging out with people and you're the best of the bunch, like you're the only one who doesn't do those things, but you're hanging out with a bunch of people who do, at some point, your standard is going to get closer to theirs. And you'll feel good as long as you're one step ahead of them. Well, I don't do that. But we're not supposed to compare ourselves to them. We're supposed to compare ourselves to God. And this says, walk with the wise and become wise, for a companion of fools suffers harm. Next one. Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. Would you rather be around someone wounding you or someone kissing you? We would say we'd rather be, in real life, you'd rather be around someone lavishing praise on you, talking about how great you are and how smart you are and how beautiful you are. But if they're not true friends, it's an enemy that multiplies kisses. The Bible says a lot about flattery, and it's not flattering. You hear someone who's flattering someone all the time, like it's okay to say something complimentary to somebody. Adelina was wearing a nice blue sweater today. I said, that's a good color on you. Because it's nice to know, oh, is that a good color on me? I didn't know. And we're all insecure, so it's like, oh, cool. And it feels good. But if I want something from Adelina, so I say, oh, you're such a pretty girl, Adelina. Oh, you're so nice. Oh, you're so whatever. That's totally different. And people and some of the sociopaths, psychopaths, the serial killers. Bundy, what was his name? I want to say Al Bundy. That's not it. Ted Bundy. He would go to colleges and he would drop his books like in front of girls, because of course girls are nice and girls would help. And then he would talk to them sweet, and he'd, and we love guys who are, good looking but not arrogant, and they're kind of like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm so clumsy, and oh no, you're not clumsy. Yeah, we don't want people intimidating, and you're not clumsy, and oh, well, what class are you in? And he'd buddy up with them, and then he'd go up behind them and put ether on their nose and, end up taking them back and doing horrible things to them and killing them. But he came off as super sweet. Oh, he's such a nice guy. Oh, he's so sweet. Well, that's not how to judge someone. Like, is everyone who's nice good? No! People can be so fake. And if they're fake, they're going to not be fake mean. They're going to be fake nice. And they're going to make you feel like they're the best person in the world and they only have your best interest at heart. But they don't. They have their best interest at heart. So we have to be careful.
The Bible says for leaders, in the same vein, that when Satan appears, he doesn't
That's right.
in the red pajamas and the horns and the pitchfork and the tail. He appears as an angel of light. Light in the Bible is teaching understanding. It looks like a good guy. And don't be surprised if his emissaries, if those, not necessarily demons, but people who are following the agenda of Satan instead of the agenda of God, don't be surprised when they appear as angels of light. And so they're going to be tricky, right? And the Bible says that false teachers tend to say the things, like you mentioned, well, they tickle itchy ears. They tell us the stuff we want to hear, not necessarily the things we need to hear. And they gather crowds around them, the Bible says, because they say the things that people want to hear. And they do that, Jude and Peter says, to take advantage.
Yeah.
Get them in, get them to drop their guard.
Yeah. And even we're going to talk about prophecy at some point, kind of end times, and that the Antichrist, people will be in awe of him. He's going to look so good. Everybody is going to follow him except us if we're here. We'll talk about whether the rapture and
What did Jesus say about that?
that if the time weren't cut short, even the elect could be deceived because he just looks so good. He'll probably bring all the religions together, bring all the, different, so that everybody's right. You're not wrong. God is here, and there's this big mountain, and all religions just kind of go to the same God. Whereas if you're being a critical thinker, you could say, well, wait a minute. Buddhists believe in hundreds of millions of, or not Buddhists, Hindus believe in hundreds of millions of gods, and Buddhists actually don't believe in any gods, and we believe in one God. We might all be wrong. We could all be wrong, but we can't all be right. We just can't all be right. And that sounds narrow-minded to say, well, I believe in one God, therefore I think the Hindus are wrong, but I think the Hindus are wrong. Well, that sounds bigoted and narrow-minded and hateful and all the negative things that people think about Christians. You know what I mean? But yes, the Antichrist is going to look good. He's probably going to be good looking. He's going to be, really good with his words. He's going to make everybody feel good about themselves, and everyone's going to follow him.
He'll answer the problems of the world.
Yeah. And only those of us who know this and who are critically evaluating will say, that's not right. That's not biblical. And then who's going to look like the jerks? This guy. We're going to look like the jerks. And when they kill us, I don't want to sound too morbid, but that's what the Bible says, they're going to kill us thinking they're doing a good thing. They're going to think they're doing a good thing by getting rid of us. Because we're the troublemakers. We're the bigoted ones. We're the ones not following everybody else. That's kind of scary. Okay. So wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiplies kisses. Proverbs 27:9. Perfume and incense bring joy to the heart, and the pleasantness of one's friend springs from his earnest counsel. Again, you're not just having fun with them, they're giving you counsel. We all need counseling. We all need advice. And the Bible talks a lot about being humble enough to accept godly advice. Not advice from people who don't love God, don't have your best interest at heart, but people who want you to move in a godly direction. Does that make sense? Proverbs 17:17, a friend loves at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. All right, so good friends can improve you, and on the inside, bad friends obviously can injure you. We've all been injured by bad friends, and to some extent, we've probably all injured other people. Proverbs 18:24, a man of many companions may come to ruin, but there's a friend who sticks closer than a brother. Again, growing up, I was more a man of many companions. I just had a lot of people I liked hanging out with, and I had my besties, and I probably called 3 different girls my best friends. We all just kind of hung out together. But we'd go to parties together, and I'd have all sorts of people. I was the belle of the ball. I got along with everybody because I didn't care about anything deep. I just wanted to have fun. But a man of many companions can come to ruin because they're not faithful friends. They're fake friends. Wealth brings many friends, Proverbs 19:4, but a poor man's friends desert him. If friends are with you just for what you can get for them, they're not going to hang out with you. They're going to talk behind your back. They're going to whatever because they're not looking out for you. They're just looking out for themselves. Rich people are always going to have a lot of people around them because they're just trying to get, I watch, and maybe I'm misjudging them, but there was like a Michael Jackson, what was that movie called? Yeah. This Is It? Okay. So after he died, they came out with This Is It, which is like a recording of his rehearsals and things. And I can't, if you were to, did you guys see it by chance? This Is It? If you guys were to see it, when he's like practicing, he'll say like, no. I want to do it this way, or I want this, or I want this. And the way people respond to him are like, of course, Michael. Of course, Michael. It's, they're just so, I don't know, I think they're just trying to get from him. You know, he was so rich and had so much fame. And even to be in his presence, they were like giddy little schoolgirls. And I understand, I mean, that happens if there's somebody famous that you're around. But instead of saying, that's an interesting perspective, Michael, but I think this might be better. Nobody ever said that, at least not in the movie. Everyone was always just like there's a professional keyboardist, and he's like, no, play it this way. And I'd be like, stay in your lane, bro. I'm the keyboardist. But Michael knew exactly what he wanted to hear, and they were there for him. He wasn't there for them. They were there for him. And again, if you were to watch it, it made me feel like sick and sad, because these weren't his friends. Again, I could be misjudging, but when you see it, they weren't his friends. They were.
They used him like a racehorse. They kept him awake. They kept him asleep. They kept him whatever they needed so he could keep doing the concerts, like Britney Spears.
Yeah, just like Britney Spears and some of the others, where their parents, and like when you see these little girls in these pageants, like when they're 5 years old and things like that, it's like, that's just disturbing. It's not the little girl's choice, that's the mother. And it's one thing to be in a little ballerina, whatever, it's still what, we won't get into that, but it's one thing to be in a little talent show. But when you get dolled up like you're 25 and you're doing things and singing things and moving things in a way that a 5-year-old shouldn't do, that's messed up. And then the kid, the mom isn't looking out for the kid's best interest. It's all about the mom. You know what I mean? We think our parents, I don't know, your parents are probably great parents, but we think our parents were just kids when they had us. They didn't know anything. My parents were just kids. They didn't know anything. And they didn't even really like each other much, maybe at the beginning, but they were teenagers when they got married. They were teenagers when they got together. They were teenagers when they had my brother, and then not far after that had me. They didn't know what they were doing. We think about our parents like, our parents. And the older you get, I don't know, it's like, did you even like me? Did you even want to have me? Oh, wait, don't answer that. I didn't want a real answer from that. But anyway, so, this is one of my favorite passages, this 1 Corinthians. 1 Corinthians actually talks a lot about who you hang out with too. You'll see 1 Corinthians over and over in this, but 1 Corinthians 15:33, do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. This is so important, especially on the boyfriend-girlfriend level. But even I think on the best friend level, we think, but he's so nice and he's so cute and he's so funny. He believes in God. We're not that deep, or you guys may be, but I never was. And some people who are Christians will say, oh, well, I witnessed to him, and it's good for me to be in his life because I'm going to bring him to the Lord. And it's really more an excuse, but really, 99% of the time, they drag you down. They pull you into the swimming pool, you don't lift them up. Does that make sense? And he says, bad company corrupts good character. Anyway, that's what God says, and I love that passage. So we might want to be careful with who we hang out with. And again, that gets complicated once we get our heart wrapped up with someone. I told you guys, I think, when I was in medical school, when I was saved not that long, and I decided I wasn't going to date at all because a guy invited me to a G movie that I thought was adorable, and he was cute. He seemed really nice, and I thought, man, that's a guy that I could fall for, and I didn't know him at all, and I had just gotten saved, and I was like, I am not going out with him, because if most people aren't Christians, and chances were he wasn't, it's like, no, I'm not going to put myself in that situation because I didn't trust my own heart. Am I strong enough because you go out with him and he's super, super, super nice and super cool. Well, heck, do I want to go out with him less next time? No, sir. I really want to go out with him now. And then I start rationalizing and think, oh, well, I'll just lead him to the Lord. And anyway, so good friends can improve you. Bad friends obviously can injure you. And all friends can influence you. And friends should be in quote. All friends can influence you. Proverbs 22:24. Do not make friends with a hot-tempered person. Do not associate with anyone easily angered, or you may learn their ways and get yourself ensnared.